This is the plaintiff, Alfred Hodeling. He says he gave the defendant a partial payment for a Bobcat construction vehicle he was selling. But when he went to pick it up, the guy refused to accept the final payment. Now won't return his money. He doesn't know who this man thinks he is, but he's suing for his $1,500 back and expects the judge to see things his way. This is the defendant, Thomas Jimo. He says he made a cash deal for the sale of his Bobcat to the plaintiff, but the guy tried to pay him the balance by check. The plaintiff refused to honor the cash deal. He canceled the contract, and he owes him nothing. He's accused of being a double-crosser.
All parties, please raise your right hands. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn in, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay. Mr. Hotling, you saw an ad that Mr. Jimo had on Facebook Marketplace. And what was it for?
It was for a Bobcat skid, sir.
And who were you buying it for?
My stepson.
Who wanted to do what?
He opened up a landscaping company.
Okay.
So it's a little machine that has a bucket on the front that can load things up into a dump truck and everything.
Okay. And when you say little machine, you drive it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not that little. All right. So I know what a Bobcat is, but what I wanted to ask you is, what price did you agree with him upon? He was asking $8,900. How much did you guys settle on?
I believe $8,400.
Okay. And then what happens?
I came back to my business is in New York, so I came back to New York from Connecticut, and we texted about it or Facebooked about it, and he wanted a deposit down. So I said, okay. So I did a bank transfer for the amount, which I supplied you with.
Right. You did a bank transfer or a cash app?
It goes through my bank. I did through my bank, which is a copy of my.
Just tell me how did he pay you? Through what mechanism did he pay you, Mr. Jimo?
Cash app.
Cash app. So it goes through your bank. It's linked to your bank, and then you sent $1,500. We have no dispute that there's a $1,500 deposit, right? Everybody agrees on that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No dispute.
Okay, so then what happens? You're supposed to come up with the rest of the money, and in your complaint you had said $8,600. Is that correct, Mr. Jimo?
The selling price was $8,400 minus a $1,500. Yeah, $8,400 minus a $1,500 deposit that he cash app me, and the balance was due in cash at $6,900 on the day of pickup.
Okay. And did you tell him that he would need to bring cash? Or did you assume he would know to bring cash?
No, absolutely not. We in the correspondence via Facebook Marketplace Messenger, I clearly stated on the second to last page of the evidence that I produced to you, it states that the balance was due of $6,900 in cash. Okay,
so talk to me, Mr. Hodeling. What do you do on the day that you're supposed to pick up the Bobcat?
Well, I didn't see the thing is I didn't see this, nor did I agree to cash for the rest. So what I did is I went to my bank and I got a bank check for the remaining balance, because I didn't want to use my personal checks, because I figured, I'm not.
When you say a bank check, what is it you mean?
A certified bank check. I went to the bank and I got a certified bank check from the bank for the balance.
Okay. And
because I didn't want to give him a personal or a business check, so I went and gave him a bank check.
So you came with an envelope and a certified bank check, and Mr. Jimo, why wasn't that good enough?
Because our agreement was in cash, and I would never take any type of check based on the ability to be fraudulent or forge a check.
It used to be that getting a certified check was good enough, and then fraud has gotten so bad that people don't accept that anymore. These certified checks are, they're fraudulently made all the time, and the bank says that's not our check. So tell me how it goes down between the two of you. You're there, you have the certified check. Did you ever tell him, hey, I'm going to bring a certified check?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't. I didn't talk to him at all. I didn't talk to him since I corresponded with the deposit, other than getting his address to pick it up.
Okay. On the 17th at 5:09, you send him a text saying, balance 6,900, and he says, yes, I got it. I guess you showed him pictures of the deposit. I got it. Yes, the balance is 6,900 cash when you come to pick it up. Call or text before you come. Make sure I'm around. Thanks. You say, well, I never answered that, but he did send it, and it's in your phone. And why would you assume somebody would accept a certified check with the amount of fraud that goes on these days? Why is he unreasonable saying, no, I want cash? Tell me exactly what went down in front of his house, and then I'm going to ask him the same question. You tell me word for word what happened in front of his house.
So I gave him the envelope. He looked at it. He opened it up. He said, no, I'm only accepting cash. He walked directly into his house, into his garage. He raised his hands. He goes, what are you doing? I said, well, I want my deposit back. He says, you're not getting your deposit back. And he walked in the house.
But I don't understand. Why wasn't if someone tells me, no, I'm not going to accept a certified check, I tell them, okay, let me go to the bank, get the money, and come back and get my Bobcat. Why wasn't that what was discussed? Why would you expect him to be giving you your money back?
He walked right into the house.
Yeah, but why weren't you saying, okay, hold on, you have my deposit, let me go to the bank and just get the cash? His text clearly said to you that he wanted cash. But also, why would you assume that he would accept a certified check? I mean,
because it's a bank check.
I don't care. It's a bank check. There's fraud. He's right. You're wrong. He's right.
Okay.
There's fraud everywhere. Okay. I know. But so why isn't the discussion, okay, oh, yeah, he did say cash. You look at your phone, you see he did say cash. Tell him, all right, I'll be back tomorrow with the cash. Why wasn't that the discussion?
The discussion, he didn't let me discuss anything. He walked directly into the house.
All right, you tell me, Mr. Giammo, what do you say
I didn't want to
happened?
go to his house and confront him.
Yeah, oh, no, there's no confronting necessary. Why does everybody have to play quien es más macho? How about we just consummate the deal calmly? Mr. Giammo, what do you say happened out there?
Well, when we had our correspondence via Facebook, it was a calm, collected, regular business deal. So when he came to the house, he parked at the end of my driveway. I had the Bobcat ready. He hands me an envelope. I didn't even get the check 1/8 of the way out when I realized this is a check. Where are my $69 $100 bills that we discussed and that we agreed to, as far as I was concerned? So I'm in the process of handing this back. I said, I can't take a bank check. You violated our agreement. And he says, well, I'm not buying it then. I said, like flabbergasted. I'm like, really? So he starts walking back towards his truck. I walk back towards my garage. Like it was probably about 60 feet. So I turn around, he's still there. And I said, can I help you? Why are you still here? And he said, I want my deposit back. I said, absolutely not.
Stop. Why is this happening? I don't understand everybody. Why isn't don't you want to sell the Bobcat?
Absolutely.
So, right. When you say, why do you look at a check and say, you violated our agreement? This is why text for toxic testosterone is way better than toxic testosterone. Like, I'm wondering, why isn't the thing, I cannot take a check. You're going to need to go to a bank and you're going to need to come back with cash. Look at the text. I texted you. I said it needed to be cash. Why isn't that the discussion? Instead of you violated our agreement, why is that? Like, why? How did this break down like this?
Within 3 seconds, the deal went wrong when I said that I'm not accepting a bank check. I can't accept a bank check. This was not our agreement. And that's when he said, I'm not buying the Bobcat. And then literally walked away. So I didn't want a confrontation. He had his steps on there. There were two on one. And yes, you're right about testosterone. Maybe men get a little crazy.
Think? You think? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this should have been a calm negotiation, like just.
It should have been.
Yeah. And did you ever look at your text and see that he had said cash?
Well, I did when I got back. I didn't at that point.
So then did you pick up the phone and call him and say, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't see this text. Let me come back with the cash tomorrow. Did you do that?
Well, I went all out of my way to go get a trailer. I had my stepson bring his truck and a big trailer to load it onto the trailer.
Is it your son's trailer?
Yes.
So what was the problem with coming back with cash the next day then?
There was no problem other than him. He walked right away and walked into the house. Okay, but so
what if he walks away? Why don't you just call him or text him and tell him, hey, I'm sorry, I just read this. I see that you texted that. I'll tell you why. Because everybody's busy playing quien es más macho. That's why. Where's the Bobcat now, Mr. Giammo?
The Bobcat was sold 2 weeks later for $800 less than Mr. Hotag was going to pay for it. I had a bunch of tire kickers and a bunch of lowball offers. And I finally got to the point where, okay, it's time to sell this. And the person actually brought cash, so it was not a problem.
Right. See, the text is very clear, bring cash. And if you wanted somebody to accept a check, you need it, whether it's a certified check or not. In the old days, people could do that. But there's so much fraud now that people don't accept that. And, you've got to know, it's not even like the guy left you guessing at how to pay for the rest of it. He specifically told you, bring cash. What I'm not understanding is how did you cash app him $1,500 in one day that
day?
The
computer.
Through the computer.
Yes,
so why didn't right? So
I didn't hand him $100 bills for the calc. I didn't have to hand him $100 bills for that. If you're saying he wanted cash, well, I didn't hand him $100 bills for the deposit. So why is that acceptable?
Well, because that you can't take back.
Wow.
So and the problem with the Cash App is they probably don't allow you to Venmo or Cash App $8,000. They're not going to let you do that because there's a limit per day. So that, he gets immediate money with the Cash App, you see. But if you give him a fraudulent, and I do this every day, I have cases like this where people.
So how does he get the cash? I mean, I've never gotten cash out of Cash App. So they just come and give him $100 bills?
No, it goes immediately from
deposit it?
No, it goes immediately from your bank account into his bank account. And he has access.
Oh, okay. So it's in a banking account.
Right. But see, okay. So then talk to the guy and say, listen, I'm going to wire you the $8,000. So I have proof that I gave you $8,000. Because when I'm reading your complaint, what you say is the following. There's a spider on my desk. Did you get him? I got him.
Oh, the poor thing.
Homie, don't play that. All right. What you say is, I told him I would never just hand over cash, especially since Bobcats don't come with titles. I told him I wanted proof that I paid him the money, and he then walked into the house. You're 100% correct. You don't ever want to hand somebody cash without proof that you paid him the cash. So what you do is you video the transaction. You say, hey, no offense, but I'm going to video the transaction because I want, or you have him, I know.
Let's go old school a little bit.
Old school, no school like the old school. Right. And you have him write a receipt for the $8,000. There should not be a problem with this. But really what should have happened when you got home and you read the text and you saw that is you should have texted him back, look, I'll bring the cash tomorrow. Instead, now we're in a position where you're mad at him for being rude. He's mad at you for not abiding by the contract because that is how this should have gone down. And then you decide, well, I'm just going to get my $1,500 back. Do you guys ever have communication again after this day?
No.
Nothing.
I really thought he was going to call me within an hour saying that he would go cash the check. But that never happened.
Was it a weekday?
No, it was I believe it was a Saturday.
So maybe he couldn't. Plus, he says it was a bank in New York and he was in Connecticut and blah, blah, blah. He lives down in this town. So I don't know why it would have been a problem to just give you the money another day. Because you gambled.
You got me.
What happened, Mr. Hodling, is that you gambled that I'd be ordering him to return your deposit. And based on the facts that I'm hearing, I'm not going to order him to return your deposit. He specifically told you bring cash. He doesn't have to accept a check. There's too much fraud now for him to. There's no law that says he has to accept your certified check. When he told you, I'm not going to accept that,
Correct.
Your next move
Correct.
was to say to him, all right, let me come back. But your next move wasn't that. Let me come back in 2 days. It's Saturday. The bank's not open till Monday. Let's work it out. I'll bring it back on Monday. But instead, your next move is to say, get me my money. And that was a gamble. And now the thing is sold. He doesn't have to return your deposit. My verdict is for the defendant. But honestly, it is sad because this didn't have to be this way. This didn't have to be this way. Calmer minds eventually. And frankly, where's your stepson? Because he's the guy who should have been the calmer mind, should have prevailed, and this deal should have just been consummated 2 days later. Good luck, gentlemen. Verdict for the defendant.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff does not get his $1,500 back. Mr. Hodling, let me ask you, the judge thinks you could have gotten your money back. You could have gotten the deal had you been a little smarter. Do you have any regrets about the way you acted?
No. It happens.
No. Very interesting. Well, it cost you $1,500 to play a macho guy, and look, he told you he wanted cash.
Nothing macho. I didn't say one word, so I wasn't trying to be macho. I just didn't want to do. I didn't want to do the deal. It wasn't a macho deal. It's just I didn't
Okay.
yell or scream. There was no mancho. Nobody. No.
Okay. So you didn't want to do the deal. It cost you $1,500. Sorry about that. That's the way it is. Mr. Gmo, since you sold the device, I guess you're not bothered at all, are you? Made a little bit less money, but
A little less money, but I'm happy that the deal went through with somebody that, in a good mindset. And I got the cash that I requested, and the judge's decision was great, and I appreciate it.
all righty. Okay, well, that's a very interesting outcome to this case.
Okay, Doug. Well, look, we have seen situations like this where the method of payment becomes the issue in a court case. And in a situation like this, if there was silence on exactly what form of payment there should be, I would think a check would be acceptable. But in a situation like this one, there seemed to be proof that the defendant expected cash, and the plaintiff cannot change the deal.
How do you have a positive attitude for life and people in general after seeing people being so ugly to each other?
I think it's practice, really. I think it affected me more when I first became a judge. I think after almost 30 years, has it been 30 years?
Yeah.
Wow, 27 years on the bench. Long time. You start to get, I don't know, I think I have a harder shell than you do. You're a much nicer guy than I am. And I think that this stuff affects you more, wouldn't you say?
It does affect me, and especially when I was on the family court bench, it made me insane, and I got home and I think I brought those psychological traumas that you experience trying to mediate and get in between.
Yeah, you were you would always tell me, hey, they all want me to decide what happens with little Johnny. How am I better equipped than the parents? You would always be very upset that they couldn't figure
down to how to cut little Johnny's hair,
I know.
what kind of clothes they should wear, you name it. So, but I think most people at their essence are decent people, are good people, and hopefully are going to...
That's the difference between you.
are going to be nice to each other.
You're a very positive guy. I just assume everyone's trying to pull one over on me all the time.
Thank God I've got you to watch my back at that.
Oh, thank God I've got you to make me not a miserable person.